Picture this. A serene summer afternoon on Lake Silverpine, where the biggest crime is playing Hotel California, a tad too loud, suddenly shattered by a voice that could sour lemonade from 50 yards away. There she stands, Victoria Sterling, the self-crowned HOA Empress of Crestwood, her hair a fortress of aerosol defiance, screeching about flagrant violations, like she's busting a cartel instead of a root beer-fueled reunion. And me, Ethan Caldwell, the guy who's just trying to give his recovering mom a real smile after months of hell, now staring down a ticket that kicks off a war I never wanted, but one I'll damn well finish. It all started innocently enough, or so I thought. I'd spent the last 3 months playing caretaker to Mom after her heart surgery, watching her fade under the weight of hospital bills and forced bed rest. But that Saturday in July, it was our breakthrough. She sat under the ancient oak by the shore, thermos in hand, her eyes lighting up as my pontoon boat bobbed gently on the federal-managed lake. Chris, my buddy since high school detention days, cranked up the Eagles, handed me a frosty root beer, and we toasted with 24 old friends. Folks who'd stuck by us through Dad's funeral, through the layoffs, through it all. Laughter echoed over the water. Stories flowed like the gentle waves. And for once, Crestwood's ridiculous property taxes felt worth it. This was community pure and simple. Until it wasn't. The music hitched like a skipped record when her voice pierced the air. "What in the name of decency do you think you're doing out there?" Head swiveled. Victoria Sterling planted herself on the bank like a territorial peacock, her designer khakis spotless, her face a masterpiece of manufactured outrage. Her husband, Harold, trailed behind like a whipped puppy, already fumbling with his phone. This is a blatant breach of HOA Rule 17, subsection B, excessive noise and unauthorized assemblies on adjacent community waterways, she bellowed, her words dripping with that special blend of sanctimony only a HOA president could muster. Chris muttered under his breath. "Adjacent? Lady, this lake's been federal since Truman was in office. Who's she kidding?" But kidding wasn't in Victoria's vocabulary. She was the type who measured your lawn with a ruler at dawn and fined you for aesthetic discord, if a blade dared rebel. I gripped my bottle tighter, the chill biting into my palm as heat flushed my face. This wasn't her domain. The lake was public, managed by the feds, a fact buried in dusty records but clear as day to anyone with half a brain. But Victoria? She ruled Crestwood like her personal fiefdom, her HOA board a rubber stamp court where community standards meant whatever kept her in power. "I'm calling the authorities right now," she announced, phone to ear with theatrical flair, as if dialing 911 was her cardio routine. Our party deflated like a punctured flow-a-tie. Friends exchanged uneasy glances. One whispered, "She's got the cops in her pocket, her hubby's on the council." 15 minutes later, Officer Miller pulled up, his sigh audible even from the boat. He was a decent guy, mid-30s, local through and through, but his eyes screamed, "Not this again." Miller trudged to the dock, scanning our tame setup. No kegs, no chaos, just middle-aged folks reliving glory days. "Ethan," he said quietly, avoiding eye contact with the shore where Victoria paced like a general. "You know the drill." I leaned in, voice steady despite the boil inside. "Whose peace are we disturbing, Miller? The squirrels? This lake's federal turf." He winced, glancing back at Victoria's wild gestures. "Her old man's golf buddies with my captain. Just take the ticket, $200 for disturbing the peace. Makes it go away." The slip felt like a slap, but as I pocketed it, my eyes locked on Mom. Her smile vanished, replaced by that worried crease I'd fought so hard to erase. Victoria smirked triumphantly, spinning on her heel. "This is just the start, Ethan. Standards must be upheld." Oh, she had no idea. That night, staring at the ticket under my study lamp, anger crystallized into resolve. I'd been data analyst for 40 years. Unearthing truths from chaos was my jam. Victoria picked the wrong quiet guy to bully. The next few nights, my study became mission control. Coffee-fueled, I dove into the HOA bylaws, a tome of legalese so convoluted it could induce narcolepsy. Rule 17. No gatherings exceeding decibel limits on community-adjacent waters. I read aloud, scoffing. Adjacent, please. I hit the town archives next. A musty basement lair of yellowed papers and flickering fluorescence. Hours blurred as I traced Crestwood's roots back to the 60s. Land grants, charters, the works. At 2 a.m. on night 3, jackpot. A 1948 Federal Watershed Act designating Lake Silverpine as protected U.S. Interior Department territory. HOA power stopped at the shoreline, period. I scanned it, triple-backed it up on encrypted clouds, and started the VS dossier. Every ticket, every petty rule she'd slapped on the lake. Victoria played bully. I'd play chess master. But she wasn't idle. Thursday's call from Dave, my old boss, hit like a gut punch. Ethan, we got an anonymous tip to HR. Claims you were at a rowdy bash with potential illicit substances. Unbecoming conduct for our consultants. His voice cracked with reluctance. It's bogus, I know, but corporate's launching an investigation. Contract suspended till it's cleared. I stared at the phone, speechless. 40 years spotless, torpedoed by a lie. Victoria's fingerprints were everywhere, twisting facts to smear me. Then Friday morning, 7 a.m. sharp, the HOA landscapers fired up industrial blowers right outside Mom's window, blasting leaves that didn't exist. The roar shook the house. Mom jolted awake, clutching her chest. It wasn't maintenance, it was warfare. We know your weak spots, the message screamed. Chris swung by that evening, beers in hand, face set in stone. Heard about the job. This ain't about noise anymore. She's gunning for your life. I nodded, voice tight. She's escalating because she's hiding something. He leaned in, eyes fierce. Let me help. I'll stake her out, binoculars from the woods. Seen enough cop shows to know how. I hesitated, then clasped his shoulder. Deal. The next day, I cornered Maria. My neighbor fined $500 for a rogue tree branch. She fidgeted by her mailbox, eyes darting to Victoria's McMansion. Maria, you're not alone in this madness. She froze, then whispered, be careful. Her husband's firm, big waste management deals. Shady stuff. Door slammed, but the seed was planted. Victoria wasn't just a control freak. She was guarding a vault. I needed firepower. Phone in hand, federal doc glowing on screen. I dialed DC Director Vance, Interior Department. Sir, submit in writing. The aide droned, a velvet brick wall. I emailed, marked urgent. Overreach on federal waters. Crickets. Meanwhile, Victoria summoned an emergency town hall. The community center buzzed with tension. Neighbors packed like sardines under buzzing lights. She glided to the podium, voice honeyed venom. Dear friends, our cherished standards are under siege by disruptive elements threatening our property values. I flicked my way, no names needed. I stood. Victoria, the lake's federal, not your playground. I have proof. Murmurs rippled. Her smile curdled. Ethan, darling, we're discussing safety, not conspiracy theories. Why? Captain Jennings agrees. Enforcement is key. Her hubby's cop crony dangled like a threat. Hope drained from faces. They slumped, whispering, she's untouchable. Defeat stung, but the real escalation hit that night. Study light dim, VS file open. I heard it. A scrape, a click at the back door. Heart pounding. I grabbed a paperweight, crept through shadows. Through the window, knob twisting. I slammed the deadbolt. Boom. Shadow fled. 911 call brought Miller, who poked around half-heartedly. Kids, probably. But dawn revealed a muddy boot print on the step. A taunt. We're watching. Chris's coffee meet next day was grim. Staked her out. Met two goons in an SUV, pointing at the lake's east shore, old boathouse area. Looked like muscle, not HOA tea party. My blood chilled. Dumping? Her hubby's firm. Integrated waste. They're poisoning our backyard. We pieced it. Victoria's iron fist protected illegal toxic dumps. Bribes flowing to keep it hush. But how to prove? Maria knocked that afternoon, papers clutched. I work at the bank, saw transfers. Risked my job. But screw her. Emails, Checks. Bypassing EPA. Discrete materials via Silverpine access. Bonuses for secrecy. Bombshell. This ends her, I whispered. Maria's eyes blazed. Make her pay. Renewed fire. I drafted to Vance. Criminal conspiracy on federal land. Halfway through, pounding at the door. 3 cop cars. Miller, warrant in hand. Arrest for falsifying federal docs. Impersonating an official. Irony burned as cuffs clicked. Mom's horrified face through the window. Victoria's silhouette smirking across the street. Cell walls closed in, time a sludge of despair. One call, Chris. Evidence safe. And I called Vance, told him about the frame job. His voice sparked hope. They bit hard. This is federal now. Sunset brought release. Charges dropped from above. Miller's parting shot. Let the feds handle it. Chris waiting outside. She's cornered. We'll scrub everything via her hacker. Dex Finch. The trap formed. We baited a fake Silverpine Waste Originals file on a leaky server, laced with a time bomb. Webcam record, file copy, auto-send to Vance, news, HOA list after 60 seconds. Chris tracked Dex to a dingy office. Anonymous tip to Miller. Evidence tampering. 1:17 a.m. Ping. File accessed. Webcam feed. Dex chugging Red Bull, Victoria hovering. Erase it all, she hissed. Countdown. 59. Dex panicked. Cursor frozen. Sirens wailed. Door burst. FBI Miller. Dex folded. She hired me. Victoria's facade cracked, screeching. This is my domain. You can't. Cuffs on, her empire crumbled. Laptop shut. Silence golden. Sirens faded, but pings erupted. Time bomb detonated. Neighbors' phones lit up. Arrest video, contracts, emails, Vance's notice. Lights flicked on, porches filled with shocked faces. Fear wall, obliterated. Channel 7 led with suburban despots' downfall. Indictments reigned. Harold cuffed at work. Jennings retired in shame. Dex plea bargained. Victoria's trial? Circus. She played victim. I safeguarded our haven, but docs damned her. 10 years for conspiracy, fraud, and virocrimes. Harold got 12. Crestwood exhaled. Maria elected HOA Prez. First move. Void petty fines. Refund $200,000. Applause thundered at Lakeside Meet. Henderson confessed cowardice. Forgave fear. Sorry, Ethan. Claps turned forgiving. Month later, Lake Bash Redux. BBQs, kids frolicking, old fishermen grilling sans arrest fear. Vance megaphoned. Public waters for all. No private tyrants. Nodded my way. Sunset. Mom laughing, Chris stone skipping. Job reinstated, hope restored. Tyrants lurk nearby, thriving on apathy. But truth, community, courage, unbeatable. Victoria's flaw, picking the wrong fight. So, was Ethan the real disruptor for challenging the HOA's standards? Or was Victoria the villain for twisting rules into a personal empire? You tell me, right or wrong.